Hi, my name's Sean and I work for the Nottingham Mental Health Support Team. So as part of the How You Doing podcast series today, I'm going to cover problem solving, specifically helping education staff to support children and young people. Some of the things I will cover include understanding what we mean by problem solving, so some of the skills that it might require. Secondly, being able to help a young person to identify a problem or an issue on their own where they can apply these specific skills. And lastly, helping them to understand when they might need some help, because sometimes it's a good skill to actually know that we need some extra support with this. I'd also like to go over some ideas and practical ways of how you can help young people to problem solve by looking at solutions to challenges or problems. Problem solving. How do we know if one of your students is struggling with it? Sometimes children and young people might feel like they've got a problem in front of them that they might have been struggling to make a choice with, and sometimes they just don't know where to start. A small problem may become a bigger problem. Problems can start to impact on us, and if we don't try to tackle them, they might become bigger in our mind. Sometimes it builds a lot of anxiety, so you may notice young people spending a lot of time worrying. This might affect how they treat others around them. It might affect their confidence, and they might appear to be a bit stuck. This could have an impact on other areas of their life, and you may observe them struggling to deal with everyday problems. The young person may become frustrated and upset. They might struggle to sleep. Their appetite might be affected. It may also affect their relationships with peers. The young person may think by ignoring the problem or not thinking about it, it may go away and might just sort itself out. But the problem could get worse. There can be all types of different problems, such as they may struggle managing their time, being able to hand their schoolwork on time, for example. They might also have problems with their social relationships and friendships. Sometimes they might need help in gaining a solution to their problems. In the next section, I'm going to talk through how to use the problem-solving technique. I would encourage you as professionals to use this material with small groups of children and young people, or even one-to-one. Problem solving is a useful technique that can help you to challenge practical problems in anxiety or low mood. A practical problem is one that we can do something about. So if you face a real life problem or a threat, that is a practical problem. Let us think about an example. Sam finds history difficult and worries about failing a future exam. How might Sam overcome his worries about failing? What advice would you give to Sam? In order to face this problem, Sam could use the problem-solving technique. Number 1, deciding what the problem is. Okay, so for this section, you could ask them, what is the problem in this situation? And then this is where the children and young people need to have a think. So firstly, Sam needs to be clear about what the problem actually is. Sam is worried about failing a future history exam. Okay, so part 2 is thinking about the solutions to these problems. So Sam could write down a list of all the possible solutions to his problem, which might include get help from his history teacher, create a revision timetable for the exam, start revision for the exam as soon as possible, or buy a revision book. In this section, you could ask, what solutions can you think of? And then you need to be prompting the students. If they struggle to think of solutions, then obviously this is when the children and young people could seek help from yourselves as teachers. Number 3, what would happen if he chose this solution? That's the question that you could ask them. For example, if Sam started revision for the history exam as soon as possible, he would be more likely to pass it, as he would be more prepared. This is where he thinks about the pros and cons of his solutions. Number 4, is the plan doable? Again, that is the question that you could ask them. Is this plan doable? Is it realistic? Does Sam have everything he needs to put the plan into action? Sam might need to buy a revision book or seek help from his teacher before he can put his plan into action. Number 5, how good is each solution? Again, you could ask that question to the students. Sam decides how good each solution is by giving each one a number from 0 to 10, 0 being not very good and 10 being brilliant. So for example, he might decide to give a score of 8 out of 10 for starting to revise every day because he sees this as a good solution to his problem. Number 6, select a plan and have a go. In this situation, for this section, you might ask, which plan would you select? Which plan would you choose to have a go at? This step is about having a go at the best solution to try. Therefore, Sam might have decided that starting to revise for his exam as soon as possible might be the best solution to his problem. Therefore, the first step is making a clear decision about what your problem is, and then you can work through the problem-solving technique to help you with practical problems. You can use the practice problem-solving handout to help children and young people to work through this technique. This handout uses the steps that we followed in the example with Sam. Remember, just by trying to solve a problem rather than pushing it away can help you to worry less. I just want to finish by saying thanks for listening to this podcast, and I hope you found it useful.